Karibu. Welcome. This is Politics Today. Tumerudi. Hapa tunachapa siasa. And I have my guest here, Elizabeth Michael. My name is Jonah Simba. My sign language interpreter is Tobias Somondi. Hey, Elizabeth Michael. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Siasa mingi.
Wacha tu. Ni mingi inaongezeka.
Hii mrengo ya Azimio. Penye huko.
Penye nimeegemea.
Yes. Mambo ni mazuri?
Well,
so far so good.
So far so good, not so good, but so good.
Okay.
Yes, at least
a lot of vocabulary. At least what?
At least tuliitana. Tulisikizana. Olive branch was extended. And then kuna kitu inakuja kama bipartisan, watu wakae chini waongee.
Kabla uingie kwa hiyo vocabulary.
Yes.
Umesikia the story ya Donald Trump?
Yes.
How can anyone arrest Donald Trump?
Well, he's not. Nobody is superior to the law. The law is always superior. So kama ulikosa, Jonah.
Right.
Yeah, the law has a long hand and it takes its course. So ndio huyo alienda na msafara yake. Akaingia and immediately he entered the courthouse. He was served with his rights and it was said he's under arrest.
Right.
Yes, so nini sheria ichukue mkondo.
By the way, what's the brand name for the American president's airplane?
Air Force One.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw Trump riding in a plane called Trump Force One. That guy is serious.
Well, he's serious. He's also he's a comic. He's a business person. If before he became president, he's used to do the what was it? Apprentice. The Apprentice. I used to watch it.
Yes.
There's the book he's written. I think I've read his book also. And yeah, so I think it's also business and
extremely rich person.
Wealthy, actually, not rich. Wealthy. He's wealthy. Yeah.
Right.
He owns a lot. Yes.
There were riots in New York. There were demonstrations. It's only that haikuwa na GSU. People are demonstrating wakisema Trump is our person. Yeah, these people. Na sikuona GSU pale na rungu na tear gas.
Well, I think first world countries, Jonah, have peaceful picketing. And I think they're advanced to the extent that if they're doing a procession for a specific thing, it is just that. And they are no like, we are not yet there whereby we can do peaceful picketing without people thinking about taking advantage of something that is, happening. Yeah. Because
they say the gentleman is anashtakiwa for felony, serious crimes against the state.
Yes.
In fact, I looked at that and it was 34.
Felony, treason
charges.
Well,
and people were picketing, and it was normal. For us here, protests ni war. You close,
Yeah, our protests are chaotic. Yes.
we need to learn something.
Well, I think what affects us a lot is mob psychology, and yes, there are people who go out there to picket with reasons for picketing, but of course there are these culprits with what do we call them? Kuna hakukosi culprits too when they have ulterior motives, so they take advantage of the situation and even make our picketing to be like chaotic, which is what also we are advocating for to stop.
Yeah.
Yes, it needs to stop, and we have peaceful picketing. So then that we drive our goal home.
I think Raila mentioned it when he said, you don't know we are putting our lives online when we go out defending you, the Mwananchi. He mentioned it during his speech.
Yes.
He said how they go out there at, risking Raila and Martha Karua
Yes.
and the rest of the people there.
The rest of the team.
Raila is one strong man. We will miss Raila. I think we need more Railas.
Yeah, we need more, and
He is one amongst many.
yes, I would concur with you,
Yes.
but I would also say we can see an uprising of young leaders who are very bold. We have seen a few who can stand and air out their grievances and talk without fear, which means we are getting somewhere when it comes to freedom of speech.
Right.
And also mentorship, because I'm a member of a party where I can say my party leader, Honorable Martha Karua, gives us the opportunity to be mentored politically. So I can stand and firmly say that yes, it is happening. They are mentoring us. We are following them. We are seeing them as role models. And yes, when they say they are putting their lives online, remember these are people. Yes, their cars are armored. Like the other day during that protest, you saw Honorable Raila's car was shot at
7 times?
No, he counted. There's a video where he counted 10 shots. Actually, there were 2 on top that were not visible, but he counted.
Right.
So they were about 8 shots. So if he was not in the car and he was on the sunroof, it shows probably there was an assassination attempt. So when he stood out there and said they are putting their lives online, it is very true, they are putting their lives online to tetea the Mwananchi, so that we get our what are they called? Our rights.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. He says they'll be back in the streets in 1 week if their demands are not met. But what is shocking, even though now things have changed a bit, but what is shocking is that during the day when he was giving his speech, after the president Samoei Ruto spoke, he also Honorable Raila spoke.
Yes.
And he spoke of electoral reforms, didn't mention high cost of living at all. It's only later that when he started talking, later, much later after that press conference, that now he brought in other things.
Yes.
Is it what Kenya Kwanza is saying, that you are pushing you look like you're pushing for the things that concern Mwananchi, but you have your own interests? That's why they're talking of handshake. And Azimio insists we are not interested at all with handshake.
We are not.
Why is it that when they get such an opportunity, the first thing they address is electoral reforms and not reduction of basic and essential commodity prices and things like that? Yes.
Well, Jonah, in my own understanding as a common Mwananchi, let me call myself that today.
Right.
We had a few things that we wanted in our agenda addressed when we started doing the demonstrations. One, we had high cost of living.
Yeah.
We had reduction of taxes also to be looked at.
Yeah.
We had
unconditional release of people who had been arrested during the protests.
That is now after. I'm talking when the demonstration started.
Okay.
For me now to get to where we are talking about electoral reforms. So we wanted the high cost of living to be reduced. Number 2, we needed high taxes to be also reduced. Number 3, we wanted we talked about the IEBC server. We talked also about our 4th agenda was the Cherera 4 to be reinstated. Now, where the electoral reforms comes is when we had 2 pressers the same day, whereby Honorable Dr. William Ruto, our president, the
Right.
president of Kenya,
Yes.
said that he has extended an olive branch, but all this has to be talked in parliament, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to parliament, there will be people who will be discussing this inside the parliament. It will lock out a lot of people.
And there goes your vocabulary.
The bipartisan. Yes.
That,
yes. So as the Azimio side, of course, when people are elected and everything, and it's going to happen in parliament, well, the Azimio side will be shortchanged because, of course, these are the things that can be addressed in parliament. Mostly, number one is now that is where the electoral reforms come in, and also these are the reinstating. But now when it comes to these other things, they cannot be discussed fully and rightfully, because there will be a number of people who will be able to get in and be in the panel when in the parliament to discuss that. So, but if it is done outside, it will be done, and everybody will be attending, and everybody, okay, what do I say?
Yeah.
Attending
all inclusive.
all inclusive, yes. So that people are not left out, and it won't be biased.
I can't forget what happened in Bomas, because Bomas gave us Samuel Kivuitu, and then we had the 2002 elections.
Yes.
That were touted to be one of the best ever. Of course, we had a down again with Kivuitu in 2007.
Yes.
But 2002, the guys did a good job. And Kivuitu and his team came out of Bomas. If you remember very well, Bomas had 700 plus Mwananchi, civil societies and all.
Yes.
And only 200 plus parliamentarians. So anytime we have parliamentarians, we come up with questionable electoral bodies. Is it that way? Or?
Well, Jonah, in 2002, I want to say I was a very young person.
Oh my.
Probably I didn't understand politics of then.
Right.
But having gathered a few info, well, I would say in my own observation, probably it is because somebody won, we used to say by a landslide. The margin was high, and then of course, where we have winners, they are bound to be losers, and probably the loser accepted the results.
Right.
So these other things come out always when kuna mtu anakataa results, which is also their right to do that. If they feel aggrieved, it can be addressed. Yes.
All right. So this structure process issue,
yes,
about this dialogue, what is your opinion? How should we go about it? First of all, are you for all inclusive?
Oh yes.
Right.
I don't want any team to feel shortchanged. So let them be.
Already Kenya Kwanza is saying that
yes,
they want this to be done in parliament because Raila will push to come into government, into power through the back door. That's what they are saying. So they want it in parliament.
No. But Jonah,
yes,
why
but Raila and the civil society, I can see, are really pushing to do this outside.
Yes.
Yes.
This is why we are saying we want an all-inclusive reason. Already in parliament, we know what has happened in our government.
Right.
So one team will be shortchanged. So to be fair, it would be good if all parties are partisan to this thing. Let KK have their own people. Let Azimio have their own people. If these people have five,
and the civil
these
society
have five, yes. If any other thing is, or other people are supposed to be included, let them now be included after they have amicably agreed that we are going to have these people. But in parliament, we already know that one team is shortchanged. And that is why, instead of going, then we come out to know there was bias. Let's have an all-inclusive so that it is sorted out vizuri, rather than having to keep going and coming back.
You know, the danger again is that if you bring it out here and you do a conference, you're already locking people. Maybe someone should suggest a convention where everyone should give an input. Because if you bring it out there and then it's a conference, come on. It will again be...
if worse comes to worse, I think now it will be left to the wananchi, I think now to whatever.
Yeah, then that would demand a convention.
Yes, for them to have their say in all this. Because I think by now where we are, every person wants, what do we say? Everybody wants
to have a voice in
a voice in it. Everybody wants everything sorted. We want a peaceful Kenya. We want to move on. We want to do what is this? And we also want to be heard as wananchi so that our issues are sorted. So I am thinking that this having an all-inclusive will avoid so many things, and it can be now solved fairly if that is there is anything to be solved. Apart from, I thought, like I said last time, it's just a matter of, this is not cast on stone. Can we ziba these loopholes where we are losing money so that, for example, Jonah, when you get a scholarship, you can, let's go even to help. For help, the government pays half, and you pay maybe probably the other half. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So if these loopholes where money is being stolen in the name of corruption, that money can be used to subsidize the cost of living. Okay.
Right.
So where the government, to subsidize now the cost of living one. So if the president can decide to do 1, 2, 3 things, there won't be all these things that are happening. Yeah. So that is for the cost of living and the whatever cost of living and high taxes. But then, when it comes to electoral reforms, these people that are there and everything, it is not cast on stone. They can as well have an all-inclusive meeting and like resolve it. Okay. Yeah. Right. And then now we continue with the normal president, whatever, the Kenya Kwanza and the opposition side, because basically Azimio does not want a handshake. We just want to keep that is how we are keeping the government in check, and we want things done right. Yeah. So
the continuous rhetoric from Kenya Kwanza group that Azimio needs a handshake. It's just out of place completely.
It is out of place. It is really out of place.
Okay.
And every time they say Azimio leader wants a handshake, no.
But then you don't see a situation where they may have outside parliament talks and Raila ends up in Mudavadi's office, prime cabinet secretary.
Well,
if it's decided, right?
No, I don't think even that is an in his vocabulary. I don't think so. It is just people thinking or assumptions from people that this is what they want. This is what they want, but it has not been said.
I had the president explain like the name of that kind of arrangement in Rwanda. I can't remember all the words, but I remember mongrel outfit. He has very interesting vocabularies for that kind of thing, to suggest that he's really out of it. And
well, Jonah, this is politics.
Yes.
We don't know, as much as we hear it is a dirty game and it is everything that is, we have cons, we have pros, and then we have people who know how to play this game well. Let us wait and see if really what they are saying is what the leader for Azimio wants. It is politics. Things change. Yeah. Change is the only constant in politics, I think. So let us wait and see kama kweli when you are on assumptions that Honorable Raila wants a share in the government. let's see his the tricks that people are saying he has so that he gets into government. Then we can be able to detect and say that, hey, this is a smart person in politics. He got where he wanted. Yeah, but now we are working on assumptions. He has not simmered and said. We can't assume that that is what he wants because we have got no evidence that that is what he wants.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, just in case the talks proceed and there is a dialogue, are you seeing a situation where they may need a referee like the church?
Well,
because according to Raila, he's speaking of Kofi Annan type of talks. Yeah, that demands there's a referee. In that case, it was Kofi Annan. So who will referee this kind of talks when headlining comes in?
Well,
are you seeing a situation where it will just be the church?
I don't know if
It's
personally,
a tricky one.
yeah, it's a tricky one, Jonah.
Yes.
I don't know if we want the church and especially our churches, or we want Kofi Annan himself.
But is he alive? Passed on.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
okay, it's whatever we are saying. I don't know if we want the church to do this for us, or we want someone to come and do it.
You had the vocabulary national accord type talks. Yeah. So that's the, most likely that's the kind of arrangement we are seeing here. And when you start discussing the structure of the talks and the process of the talks, I think that's now where the rubber meets the road, because Kenya Kwanza seems to really insist that it is in that detail that these guys, these gentlemen and ladies from Azimio want to come into government through the back door.
Well,
they
Jonah,
seem to be more focused on the process.
I don't know.
now.
I don't know which. If I didn't know that a government has a back door. Let's start there.
All right.
Does a government have a back door? Which is this back door that they have that we don't know, that they used to exit and getting into the government?
Right.
Because if there is a back door, we are not aware. We don't know. They can show us. Then we can think if we want to use it or not.
Yeah.
But anyway, that withstanding, Jonah, if we wanted a back door, we would be having those unasikianga night talks.
Right.
Yeah, unasikia watu kumbe wanakutananga usiku alafu asubuhi tunapata handshake, yeah. But now this is happening. If it's a presser, it's being done in public. If it's anything, it's being done. If there will be by whatever, an all-inclusive nini, it will be. Like, everybody will know it is happening. Sio zile za kukutana usiku. So, if there is a back door,
all right.
Yes, it's questionable. And I don't think that is what Azimio wants.
Right. Well, Raila says that if these demands are not met, the demands that he laid across, they'll be back in the streets again.
Yes.
Are you seeing yourselves back there?
Well,
because so far Kenya Kwanza are insisting they are not going to have these talks outside parliament. Azimio is insisting these talks must be all inclusive. So are you seeing like already we are in a situation here?
Well, yeah,
somebody needs to throw down. Because now
you see, there's a lot of chest thumping in
we want it here, we want it here. No one seems to be moving now.
Yes. And it is because, Jonah, if you feel that if you are going to have a conversation and you already have people who are biased against you, you already know you are going to lose. Okay?
Right.
So if you know you're going to lose, why even do you have to go and sit there to have that conversation? And you already know, like, people who are there already have a formed opinion about what is going to happen. Yeah, okay, so already the answer, whatever you table, will not go through.
So we are seeing a stalemate already, even before we begin, because these ones want it in parliament, these ones want it out of parliament. By the way, we spoke about the selection panel right here at Chapa Siasa
Yes.
Politics Today, me and you.
Yes.
And we talked about that selection panel. Are you happy it went down? It was degazetted or something. That ilitupiliwa mbali. Now it's something they're talking. And that's where now the Mwananchi raises eyebrows. Why is it that when Raila gets an opportunity, just a small window to negotiate, he brings out electoral reforms instead of bringing the issues za Mwananchi?
Well,
Mbona uongea mambo ya electoral reforms kabla ujaongea high cost of living? You know, that is now what really,
Jonah,
someone needs to speak for the Mwananchi.
Having the wrong people in the IBC, for example, is what is costing us today. Because even leaders who are there are the ones who are not supposed to be there. Okay?
Right.
So if they are there and reforms are not looked at or changed, for that matter, we will keep having this same problem. So we just have to look at where to start solving and for things to be right. In my opinion or in my observation. Okay, if today we solve the high cost of living and lower the taxes.
Yeah.
And then come the next elections, we still have a problem like this. This thing will keep recurring.
Yeah.
It
Maybe
will keep recurring.
maybe it's because it's always being made in Parliament. Maybe when they do it outside Parliament, we'll have a, political interests are different from socio-economic interests. You know, when you bring in the civil society, when you bring in the Mwananchi,
Yes.
their talk is always on social economic.
Yes.
But when you have politicians in a room, their talk is centered around political interests.
Yes.
So maybe we need to
we
bring
need
it
to
out
get,
there to
we
the
need to
civil
have
society
to
also.
the civil society people who are neutral
Right.
in all this, so that we are able to make informed decisions.
Right.
And be able to move forward henceforth, because we can't keep on every 5 years it is about this, and it is the same thing. We need to heal this wound and actually move on, because this is wasting our time. If, for example, this had not happened, whoever is in State House, right, would be working. Okay. So we would be having a nation that is progressing forward. But sasa unaona tuna stagnate because of the same mistakes that we keep.
I want us to go for a break. There was a political meeting in Malaba. You remember it?
Yeah, the 40 churches.
A lot of headlining.
Yes.
It was prayers. It was supposed to be prayers. Did you hear any prayers?
Yeah, the prayers now.
Yes.
Turned our right honorable Raila to be the small god. It was all about him.
It was
now.
very politically charged.
Yes.
Okay, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Mambo.
Fiti.
When mwananchi wa kawaida.
Ni ordinary.
Kama kawa, kama dawa. Issues za mwananchi. It's like someone needs to speak for the Mwananchi. But before we get in there, there was a meeting somewhere in Western where there was a lot of headlining from the Kenya Kwanza team that there is not going to be any, dialogue. If there is any dialogue, ni huyo mzee retire.
Yes.
Hii mambo ya headlining, I think both sides have headliners.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to soften up a little bit.
Well, I think when it comes to headliners and headlining, Jonah,
hizo ndio shida za
hapa hii chest thumping ya kila mtu anataka kujipiga kifua aonekane yeye ndio, acha nitumie local language, acha nionekane mimi ndio mwanaume ama mimi ndio kusema.
Right.
It's costing us.
Right.
So what do I want to say?
Somebody needs to soften down.
Apart from softening down, I think we have to be mature. Both parties have to be mature about it. I'm not saying that they are not mature, but being the bigger person, actually, that's the right word. Yeah.
What we
so
saw
if this person decides to be the bigger person, this other one decides to be the bigger person, then things are going to work out, because all this that is happening should not be about showing who is more macho than the other. It should be towards driving. Yes, it is allowed, but it is towards driving Kenya to being a better Kenya.
Yeah, the meeting in Western. Are we experiencing, is that politics or is that hatred? I sat listening to almost every speaker. My God. Is that the definition of politics? Was that hatred?
Sijui ni chuki, sijui ni madharau, sijui ni kubebana wana. Unajua ile naweza sema hivyo na kama youth.
Yes.
Hawa say pia maybe wanabebana wana ama wanatubeba wana. Unaona?
Right.
Maybe it is for sure for shizo. We don't know why someone would utter things, eh?
Right.
And being a leader, anajua kuna watu who are looking up at them. So when such utterances are uttered, they beg questions. And sasa jana tutasema nini?
What's shocking is that was a prayer meeting.
Yeah, it was a prayer meeting, but now I think the goal changed, the agenda changed of the whole meeting. The whole meeting became political. It's like it was, I would say ni kama tu wali set up so that they waonekane wameenda huko wanafanya wako na backup ya huko, na waonekane sasa wameka mkutano ndio wa drive agenda wakisema ni makanisa na nini, lakini kumbe si kanisa, walienda na maombi ni ku make sure wame air their grievances in an formal way na ifikie wananchi. Unaona?
Yeah, but
just to drive a point that would have been maybe otherwise irrelevant somewhere else, and it's still irrelevant.
Okay. There must be a deliberate attempt now to try and get the Western votes. Are we starting campaigns early? Because it's like there is a deliberate attempt now. Who gets Western Kenya? Yes?
Well, I want to... Well, having looked at the Kenyan politics,
right.
I don't think we tumefika mahali Western vote ndio swing vote. When you get this vote, now you will win. We are not yet there. We are not yet there.
But actually, what was the margin? What was the margin between the two people? 200,000.
Yes.
Yeah. If Western votes were not there, somebody could have lost. But proceed before you lose your thought.
No, I was listening to your thought, so that I come in, Jonah.
Right.
Sasa nikuulize, is it 200,000 zilikuwa distributed Kenya mzima? Those were not a total of 200 votes from Western.
No, but actually someone would argue that
yes, there was this thing about
Western,
if Nani went to Bungoma, and actually it was Bungoma, that if he campaigned vizuri alijua hiyo ni votes zake ati hakuenda campaign huko and all that.
Right.
So that is where the 200 was lost, meaning probably we wouldn't have gotten 50 plus 1.
Okay.
But now if we say that campaigns have started this early, I want to say that it is not what do I say? It is not right, because it costs us a lot. Jonah, for example, let me talk about the last 10 years of the last regime. Okay?
Right.
Somebody was asking, at that time of the last 10 years, number 2 was busy campaigning from year 6 or year 5.
Right.
Instead of helping the president to build a better Kenya, ali campaign enyewe sasa basi amekuwa president. But now imagine sasa tuko month 7 out of probably either 5 or 10 years.
Right.
So where are we headed if we start campaigns this early? 7 out of the 10 years, that is, if it is 5 years, it's going to be 60 months. If it's going to be 10 years, it's there about 120 months. and we are on month 7 na tunaanza campaigns.
Yeah.
Which is and I want to say this, dynamics change. Probably you think that this person was supposed to work for the Bungoma vote. Probably by the time we get to the ballot next time, the votes will have changed and things will have changed also. That will not be the swing vote needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we come back to the dialogue, Mombasa, the coast,
Yes.
conspicuously missing. Yeah, what's happening? You're Azimio. Something must be cooking in the coast.
I don't know.
Yeah,
well,
someone, there's this talk that this is just in Nairobi and Kisumu. Yeah, where is Western and where is Coast? Is Raila losing Coast and Western?
No.
But it's conspicuously quiet.
You know, by being silence does not mean weakness.
Right.
Silence does not mean weakness. And just because they are supporters of Baba, they don't have to go making noise and saying we are supporters of Baba, we are supporters of Baba, or we are supporters of, yeah. And it does not mean that, okay, that was also a speculation in the last elections, but what was the outcome?
Okay.
ODM nailed it in the coast still. Okay. So sometimes it's what do I say? Sometimes it's we work with, okay, politics is analyzing and trying to give hypothesis of that will an outcome that will occur,
right,
which happens by chance. So when we are discussing that, it can come to pass or not come to pass. But again, when it comes to strongholds, there is no Jonah. No,
and what's happening to Kisii?
Kisii, normally the votes there are.
Someone will argue that slowly the opposition is losing its grounds. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
the protests are remaining just to be,
in Nairobi and Kisumu.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think if you had the leader of Azimio, when Mandamanos were starting,
right,
there was something there was something said that we are starting with the capital, then we are going to spread.
Okay.
To other and then it's going to be a nationwide thing. Okay.
Even
of
though
course,
we are glad the protests are now stalled at least.
Yeah. Lakini sasa ni Jonah, my youth wa
right,
tumeenda glucose break, tumepewa glucose break. Waone kama watasolve, kama hawatasolve, tumelamba glucose, energy merudi, we go back to peaceful picketing. Yes, that is what we are saying, because at the end of the day is the agenda has to be driven home. At the end of the day, mwananchi has to be comfortable. At the end of the day, if these people are economists, money has to go down to mwananchi, and when mwananchi has money, the government grows. So money has to trickle down for the government to function, for the government to be able to pay its debts and everything. So this thing of mwananchi anakuwa maskini haezi pata is also affecting the government by itself. The government is supposed to make sure that its mwananchi akona pesa. And that is why mwananchi akiwa na pesa ananunua, analipa taxes, anafanya hii na hasikii uchungu hata ya kulipa hiyo tax, sababu biashara yake inaleta pesa. Ikileta pesa ako able ku afford hadi kulipa hizo taxes na ku afford chakula. If you look at when picketing is happening, Jonah, right? These people, if they had a job, do you think they would be picketing? They would. If they had jobs, they would not be picketing if they had jobs that were paying.
Right.
Because mtu anasema hata kama basi unga imeenda bei kali, naweza afford kununua hiyo unga. But here comes whereby cost of living imeenda high. Huwezi afford hata hiyo unga, huwezi kula 3 meals a day, huwezi fanya nini, utakosa kudemonstrate kwa nini? Hao watu wote wenye wana demonstrate 90, karibu 7% are not stable.
Now, that's why we say, where is the voice of the Mwananchi in there? Because right in the middle of that protestations, that's when power, electricity went high. You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. Just right. I don't know what happened to the timing, because when people were protesting, that's when there was a hike in electricity prices. And then the issue of freedom of journalists. I had somebody argue that that was not Garia journalists, that was a DJ, you know, it was an Azimio DJ vehicle that that was, were those journalists. Okay, we saw Brian, I mean, we saw the people who were in there, and we saw how Brian suffered at the other side, Northlands. But you know, where are we headed to? Freedom of journalism.
Well,
whether that was a protest or not.
Whether it's a protest or not, I think a government that gags the media is always headed for a downfall.
It's a very strong statement you've made.
Yes.
The president spoke and said, no, no one was going to shut the media or the internet. That is your own cooking.
But
Yes.
prior we had utterances from senior people or a senior person,
Okay.
saying the same thing, that if they are going to be airing and showing things that are, you know,
Right.
they would face repercussions of the same. So yes, there had been a warning, until when now the president came in and said there's nothing like that. If it had not been said, then the president would not have come out to say no, they have a right and they can air news or whatever, you know. Lakini the fact that alitoka na akasema hapana, kuna kitu kama hiyo, hana hawajafungiwa kupeperusha habari, okay. If truly nobody had said that, or it had not been said, why would he come out to say that no, this is not that, but it is going to be like this? They have the freedom to do that. You know, so it had been said, but now this was now coming to do what we call in Itangwaje damage control.
Right.
Yes, which I agree he did it in the correct way.
Okay.
Which is okay. That was sorted, and
there are some members of the civil society taking petitions to court. Yeah, on
Sorry?
protection. Yeah, there are some members of the civil society taking petitions to court, cases and all that, trying to defend Article 37 of protesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a court case going on today.
Okay.
There was I think it's ongoing, or it was going on today.
Yeah, maybe they're just headed to court because nothing has been said so far.
Yeah, so it is true. We have that is a right that should not be taken away from the Mwananchi.
Okay.
Because otherwise, how are we going to be airing our grievances and making sure that our rights are heard and everything goes well?
Yeah, let's diagnose the note a bit. Are we still on the right track in terms of security? Gamia's former speaker, Francis Ole Kafaro,
yes,
zilibwa, right when we have the police and the interagency.
Well, Jonah,
Yes.
Kenya is a funny country. Sorry. I don't want to laugh because somebody lost property, but najaribu kuimagine tu.
Right.
Mse alienda kaiba ngamia.
Right.
Ngamia mingi. Mali alizitoa, akazi sijui alika kwa gari ama alizi hard away.
Right.
I don't know. That
But
one.
where do these cattle pass?
Sorry?
There are so many. Where do they pass? Zinapitia wapi?
Well, I think, Jonah, it's just planned in a way that...
No, somebody must be hiding information, because if you are stealing many cattle, livestock, you must be passing through somewhere. And it said some of this meat ends up in Nairobi. Yeah, you remember the CS once saying it ends up in your plate. Yeah, in Nairobi.
Well, it is true. We know that demand creates scarcity creates demand.
Right.
So of course we have people who also want to do business the illegal way. So they will go steal, slaughter, and come sell meat as a way of actually an illegal way of earning money.
Right.
But yes, it might end up in our plates, which is, Jonah, I don't think it is the right thing to do or anything. But I don't know how they plan to. I don't know if it's an internal job. You know, ndio mkuje muingie kwa mtu muibe hadi msisafirishe. Lazima kuna kitu inaendelea between watu wa ndani na wale wanakuja kuiba.
How can this happen and the CS is based in the north now?
Aki, I don't know how they plan that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I would be lying to say
yes,
that
maybe somebody needs to go back to the drawing board in terms of protecting
security.
Property.
In terms of security, yes.
Yeah. Well, our time is gone. Your final words, especially in this Maneno ya all-inclusive dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to address both the Kenya Kwanza and the Azimio leaders that yes, we want a greater Kenya. Maybe we have our own different ways of wanting a greater Kenya, but I advocate for not being biased. Let's have an all-inclusive dialogue so that we solve and we move forward, because this thing is dragging us and we have so much to do and to deal with in our economy. Yeah.
Yeah, well said. Elizabeth Michael, thank you.
Yes.
Politics today. Hapa tunachapa siasa. That's what we have today. See you next week. Hapa on Science TV. Bye.